In the thick of a forest in Western Ireland, a man runs desperately in search of help. After running for a while, he realizes he's back where he started. Feeling frustrated, he climbs a tree but falls when he loses grip. In the next moment, an invisible force grabs him and drags him away into a pit. Elsewhere in the country lives an artist named Mina, who works in a pet store. As part of her job, she's to deliver a parrot to a zoo in a neighboring city. She takes the bird home, scheduling her trip for the next day. That night, she goes clubbing, dressed up and disguised as an American to impress a guy. She feels no one would like her if they know the real her. The next day, she sets off on her journey with the parrot. On the way, she gets a call from her twin sister, Lucy. Lucy is particularly worried Mina still blames herself for their mother's death. It's been 15 years since the tragic incident, but Lucy still feels guilty. As she drives down the road, her car's engine suddenly fails and her phone's network loses signal. With the parrot's cage in hand, she ventures into the nearby forest as she tries to look for someone that could help fix her car. She finds no one and returns to the spot where she parked the car but couldn't find it. Feeling lost and thinking they'll probably die in the forest, she gives the bird a name, Darwin. Suddenly someone zips past them. She chases and finds an elderly woman who runs into a bunker. The woman instructs her to get in fast if she cares for her life. Without a second thought, Mina rushed in, and the woman whose name is Madeline introduces two other people, Daniel and Sierra. They are just like her, lost in the forest but now lives in this bunker, which they call the coop. Madeline immediately orders Mina and the others to stand in front of a large mirror as the Watchers would be here any moment. She explains to a confused Mina that the Watchers are mysterious creatures that comes every sunset to watch them from the other side of the mirror. They can't come in but will watch them till sunrise. She orders Mina to step forward. The mysterious creatures which they can't see starts applauding. They are thrilled to see a new face. In the morning, Mina announces that she intends to leave. Although the others assure her it's impossible, she heads into the forest. Madeline catches up with her, explaining that the forest causes hallucinations. But it is possible to survive here. There are landmarks scattered round the coop that marks a boundary they shouldn't cross. They were built by a man called the Professor. The distance between the landmarks and the coop would take half a day's walk, and venturing beyond any of them would mean remaining in the forest after sunset, exposing one to the terrors of the Watchers. That night, Daniel jokingly presents Mina to the Watchers, while Kiara shows off her dancing skills as she does every night. Mina, on the other hand, finds discs with recordings of Love Search TV shows. The next morning, they all go scavenging and also get sunlight after a very busy night. Mina and Sierra, together in pairs, collect medicinal herbs. Sierra informs Mina she came to the forest together with her husband John 5 months before now. He left 6 days ago in search of a way out, but is yet to return. Sierra shows Mina a burrow dug by the Watchers. They are all over the forest, connected like an underground system, and getting close to one could be hazardous. According to Madeline, it's where the Watchers go during daylight hours. Later, Madeline states there are important rules Mina must follow. Do not turn your back to the mirror. Do not open the door after dark. Stay away from the burrows. Always remain in the light. According to Madeline, these are the rules keeping them alive. That night, Mina curiously taps on the mirror. Nothing happens at first, but then heavy knocks follow, coming from the mirror. Madeline handles the situation, ordering everyone to remain still and stay inside of the Watchers. In the morning, Daniel and Mina go hunting. He used to go hunting with John, but has been hunting alone since he left. The boy tells Mina that Madeline used to teach at a university. That's why she considers herself a know-it-all. But she has been living here the longest. He's only been here for 18 months. Mina doubts Madeline's rules, so she convinces Daniel to help her explore a burrow using a rope. In the burrow, she finds old items, newspapers, toys, pieces of electronics, and an old bicycle which she ties to the rope and sends up. But then strange sounds similar to those heard at night outside the cabin walls echo from the darkness. Mina screams out to Daniel to let down the rope. Climbing out into the light, Mina leaves the dangerous place, and they calmly examine the items with the bicycle. At the coop, Mina lied to Madeline she found the items under a big rock. Although Madeline doubts her, she brushes it off eventually. Daniel fixes a camera from the electronics Mina brought. He connects it to the TV in the house, creating a surveillance system. They all agreed to put the camera by the door to see the Watchers when they'll arrive this evening. Everything is going as usual that night, but then there is a knock on the door. From the camera outside, they can see it's a person outside. The person begs them to open the door, claiming he's hurt. Kira recognizes the voice as her husband's John. Driven by emotion, she tries opening the door, but Madeline blocks her, reminding her of the rules. To confirm if it's really John, Madeline suggests she asks a question only both of them would know the answer. Kira asks what book she's reading, but the man outside says he doesn't know. If that were to be John, he should definitely know the answer, as they've bought the book together. Mina admitted going down a burrow and doesn't regret it. She had to find a way out of this place. Sierra then asks the man to show his face in the camera so they can confirm it's really John. The man crouches by the camera, but is immediately dragged away by an invisible entity. Suddenly, the camera lens breaks. The Watchers becomes aggressive, banging heavily on the door and the mirror almost breaking it. Madeline instructs everyone to stand behind her, and soon everything subsides once again. In the morning, Madeline throws the bicycle into the burrow, demanding that they no longer break the rules. Mina recalls her childhood. She had always been breaking rules and always seemed to find ways to disobey her mother. Thus, the incident, which had led to the accident that took her mother's life. Winter soon arrived, the days grew shorter, the night colder, and food became increasingly scarce. One day, Mina noticed Kiera hadn't come back from her usual walk, even though it was getting dark. She rushes out in search of her and finds her near a burrow. Sierra regrets not opening the door that day. It could have really been John at the door. Suddenly, Daniel's screams are heard. They both rush to the direction, but finds Daniel tying Madeline to a tree. He runs into the coop and Kiera follows, trying to calm his anger. Mina stays behind to untie Madeline, but realizes Daniel has shut the coop's door upon getting there. They beg Daniel to open, but he reiterated they aren't allowed to open the door for anyone after dark. Realizing the Watchers would be here any moment, Mina and Madeline hid beneath a rotting tree, hoping to mask their scent. Soon the Watchers arrived to watch as always. The intelligent creatures realize there are two other people not in the coop and rush into the forest to find them. Seizing the opportunity, Mina and Madeline rushes to the door to plead once more. Mina tells Daniel of the guilt she still carries for causing her mother's death. A thing like this would haunt him for the rest of his life after realizing he could have prevented their deaths. Daniel succumbs to her plea and opens the door, allowing the duo to rush in on time. Madeline orders everyone to stand in front of the mirror immediately. She confessed she had willingly come to the forest despite knowing of the Watchers' activities, as she teaches mythology and folklore at a university, and had only realized how dangerous this place truly was after arriving. She had once seen a Watcher that had morphed into something that looked like her. She explains the Watchers are categorized in different clans: the winged people, changelings, and fairies. They study humans so as to act like one, thus why they watch them and would never let them leave the forest. Suddenly, there are noises all over the coop. The Watchers continuously bangs and hits the glass mirror and the door. Just in time, they accidentally discovered a secret bunker beneath the coop, into which they retreated to before the coop eventually gave in to the force of the fierce creatures. They couldn't believe there was something like this beneath them all this while. Everything they'll need is there, including food that could last them for years. Mina turns on an old computer and in a video recording shows the face of the professor, whose real name was Rory Kilmartin. In September 2009, he had built this impenetrable fortress, which he called Wonderland. Every evening, the Watchers came to his window and studied him for many years. His colleagues had laughed at him when he proposed the creation of Wonderland, not believing his ideas. So he built this bunker with the help of men from nearby remote villages, 13 men a day with no money and no family. Every evening, he'd convince them to have dinner outdoors, but would secretly slip inside the underground bunker and wait till he could no longer hear their screams. Thus, this bunker was built on the blood of innocent people. One day, he encountered a Watcher in the form of a girl with red hair. She seemed curious and different from the others, so he lured her into a cage and began experiments on communication, trying to befriend her. He hopes to unlock the secrets of the fairies, which could make him immortal. She sometimes changes form, turning into a frightening creature with long arms, but gradually becomes close and understandable to him. But now the professor realized he had achieved nothing significant, even after spending 300 days studying. He loathes himself, having committed so many sinful acts, all in the name of knowledge, and is ready to end his life and that of the Watcher he had befriended. He had hidden a boat by the river, and this is the only way out. Just follow the birds. He pleads with anyone watching right now to go to his office in the university, where he used to teach and destroy everything related to his research on the Watchers. In the last recording, Kilmartin climbs up the bunker. Gunshots are heard, and then all is quiet. Later, Sierra celebrates with Daniel. They finally found a way out of this place. Daniel tells Sierra his house isn't any better. His father is a drunk and always beats him up, which was why he left. Sierra assures him everything will be fine once they live, and can come to stay with her in her house. The next morning, they set out to look for the river where the boat is. Mina released the parrot, and they followed its lead. They soon come across a massive stone disc on the ground with carvings of the fairies on it. Madeline believes this is where the fairies are imprisoned, which is why they are are unable to leave this forest. They hurried away as sunset closed in on them. The growls of the Watchers could be heard already. In time, they find the river and the boat just as Kilmartin had left it and hurried towards it. Just then, they hear John's voice call out to Daniel to help him out. Thinking John might have somehow survived the Watchers, Daniel heads back to assist him. Meanwhile, the women who are already on the boat try to warn him it's one of the Watchers' tricks. But it's too late. Daniel gets killed, and the changeling takes his form, while the women sails away with a heavy heart. They wake up in the boat the next morning and see that they have returned to civilization. They boarded a bus, now feeling relieved they've made it out. Afterwards, Mina visits the professor's office, posing as his niece. Everything is just as he had left it. In one of his documentaries, Mina learns the fairies once lived among humans. Some even mated with humans, breeding offsprings he refers to as halflings. It's yet to be proven, but it's possible some of the halflings still lived among humans. Mina gathers all the documents and takes everything with her. That evening, she visits Kiara in her house and shows her some pictures she had gotten from Kilmartin's office. The woman in the photos is Madeline, who is also Kilmartin's wife. She had been dead long ago, and the Madeline in the coop with them could possibly be the Watcher he had captured. Soon a car approaches the house, and the real Sierra steps out. The Sierra with her reveals herself as the Watcher with them in the coop. It sneaks behind the real Kiara and knocks her out, leaving itself with Mina. According to the Watcher, the professor had promised to help her leave the forest, but then tried to kill her. It thanks Mina for finally helping her escape, but won't spare her now that she knows her secret. After killing her, she'll take up her form and impersonate her. The Watcher tries to choke her, but Mina reveals there's something the professor didn't tell her. Unlike the other Watchers, she can walk in daylight and is able to leave the forest because she's a halfling. There could be others like her, and there's a possibility she could find them. The Watcher succumbs to Mina's words. It transforms into its real form and tells Mina it hopes she's right and flies away. Afterwards, Mina visits her sister Lucy. She's finally letting go of the guilt about her mother's death. She tells Lucy about her adventure in the forest and also about Madeline the Watcher. She still sees her sometimes in crowds taking on different forms, but hopes she finds what she's looking for. Meanwhile, outside the house, a mysterious girl with red hair stands watching.